Hey guys, and welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and their win against the Buffalo Bills. And now we're going to dive into the Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions won 31 to 23, which is absolutely insane. The Lions seem to be the underdog this year since, the Lions have not advanced to an NFC championship game in 32 years. It's been since 1992. How insane is that? And they're closer to their first Super Bowl win ever, which is absolutely insane. Honestly, I'm more of a college football gal, but I'm getting a little more into NFL, and I'm kind of rooting for the Lions. I love a good underdog.
Well, I was looking at they had a map up on somewhere and online, and they were showing how the country was rooting for, most of a big chunk of the country is actually rooting for Detroit. Detroit has never made it to a Super Bowl. They did make it to an NFL championship that was before the Super Bowl. That was in 1957. But I mean, when you're talking about cursed franchises that haven't been able to go anywhere, it's the big three, in my opinion. It's always the Detroit Lions, the Cleveland Browns, and the Jets. And when you start looking at it, and it's like their first divisional title since 1993. They just got their first playoff win before, which was just since 1991, and a conference championship 1991 as well. So if they could keep going now, I don't know how much did you watch the entire game, or did you just watch part of it? How did it go with you as far as that game?
I believe I was working during this time of
Oh,
the game,
so you didn't
so
really watch much of the game.
no, I just read some news stories about it afterwards. So
Okay. So I didn't watch the game live. And here's something to share with the audience, which makes it a little different. Uh because of the fact that I am in Europe right now. So I did not watch the game live because it would have been like in the middle of the night. So I actually watched the game in the morning, first thing in the morning. So I'm up at like, I think it was about 4:30 in the morning, and I'm watching this game, which kind of makes me kind of crazy. But I'm gonna tell you, watching this game, I was kind of surprised because, watching this game at the beginning of the year, if you'd told me I'd be watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions determine which one is going to go to the NFC Championship game, I don't think anyone would have bet on this game, that game would have happened. But I'm going to tell you this: one, Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. I mean, I thought they did a heck of a job, but this year it's all about the Detroit Lions. And everyone, I'm telling you, get used to this combination of Amara St. Brown and Jared Goff. That is, I mean, when you look around and you say Goff is still relatively young, and I'm gonna say the next big up and coming star. He's is Amara St. Brown. He had 8 big catches for 77 yards and a massive touchdown. Golf. You're looking at this is he's taking two different teams to the NFC Championship. First with the Rams, and now with the Detroit Lions. And I actually think taking Detroit to an NFC Championship game is something that has, like you said, hasn't happened in forever or ever. Um, just makes it so when you look around and you're saying the Rams traded Golf to the Detroit Lions, 2 first round picks, and Jared Goff. And now you look around and you say the Detroit Lions are in the NFC Championship game. That is so impressive. And as far as the game goes, I thought it was a relatively competitive game, especially the first three quarters. But the fourth quarter, I just felt like Detroit just really just kind of put the foot on the gas and just really started to close this game out. I thought it was a masterpiece. I am really looking forward to seeing how Detroit's going to do against the 49ers. There's one thing to beat up on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's another thing to be going into San Francisco. So I am truly intrigued by that. What do you guys have something to say on that one, Faith?
No, I'm excited to see how they're going to play against the 49ers and how that game is going to go, honestly.
And as a casual fan, knowing their history, does that make you want that does kind of make you
Yeah,
root for them a lot
it really
more.
does.
It's like you never expect, you know, the Browns or Detroit Lions to be contending for a Super Bowl. It's so that I mean, it does give a different approach to, I mean, thought to the game. Um, the running back Gibbs, solid performance. Nine carries for 77 yards. Montgomery had 10 carries for 33. I just thought Detroit just put together just a very solid performance here. Now, as far as Tampa Bay goes, with the fact that how well Baker has done, you look at the fact that he's going from Cleveland to Carolina and now to Tampa Bay. I think Baker Mayfield, even though with a loss, has opened himself up to possibly getting a contract. I don't see any reason why Tampa Bay wouldn't move forward with Baker Mayfield and signing him at least to a couple more year contract. So I think this was a kind of a win-win situation. I don't think anyone, unless you're in Florida, had really thought that Tampa Bay had a real shot at the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I did not think Tampa Bay had a shot. You're over here laughing, but yeah, I didn't think they ever had a chance at all.
Hey, they
But
got close.
I yeah, you're close. You're close to Florida. You're right around there. Yes. You're a lot closer to Florida than I am, let's just say. You're a couple of 100 miles, and I'm a few thousand miles away from Tampa
Yeah.
right now. But when you look at the future of Tampa Bay, I think the future is bright, even though they took a loss. But you can look at what they have, what they're building on. There's something there. But today belongs to praising the Detroit Lions. I think I'm really curious to see how well they do against the 49ers. And actually watching the 49er game, which we're going to touch on after the break, I felt like the 49ers were vulnerable. And Goff, when you're watching Goff, he doesn't seem to be folding under pressure. Amara St. Brown really is rising to the occasion. This did not feel like a team that this was their first time making it this far in 30 years. This seemed like a team that had confidence and believed they could win. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform in the next round. Anything else before we move on to the next game?
No, I think you covered it all.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into which game?
The Texans versus the Ravens.
Or the Ravens versus the Texans.
We gotta
Considering,
switch
yes.
it up every little bit.
Excellent. All right, we'll be right back.